Welcome to another episode of Luka's Kits. We're going to be looking at something a little different today. It's an old Tamiya kit, something that I remember seeing a friend of mine build back in the late 80s or early 90s, and then I went out and got the kit and never did anything with it. So I've had this kit probably since the early 90s when it was a regularly produced kit from Tamiya. It's been discontinued since then, but it is a really cool kit, and I thought, let's show it to you guys. This is the Peugeot 405T. It was their car that won the 1989 Paris-Dakar Rally. So it's a very specific historic race car now to rally racing. So let's get into the model kit. This is a pretty neat model kit that builds into a really nice model. Let's first start with taking a look at the box art. And of course, has a beautiful illustration on the cover. And this does have an engine in it, which it's a mid-engine vehicle. And as you can see right there, the illustration shows an engine. And on the side you get your front and rear profiles and the side profile and a little write-up about the car. And on the other side of the box you get kind of an x-ray view of the engine bay and everything, and a look at what it'll look like from the top when you're all done with your model. So in Tamiya fashion, whole bunch of parts, really nicely laid out. I love how they put all their models together in their boxes, and you can take them out, look at them, and put them back in and get the box lid back on. That's something I always like, you know, because I like to look at models and put them back in the box and then put it on the shelf for 18 years. Well, this is actually probably more like 22 years or 24 years. I can't remember when I bought this. I believe it was in the early 90s. So starting with the instructions, got a beautiful booklet here. Total explanation about the car and everything. Nice illustration of a built model. That the instructions are very well illustrated, and you have an excellent key code for your colors, and it points out what colors belong where, which I always liked about Tamiya instructions. You can see that this is a very well detailed model kit. Highly detailed for Tamiya, and it just goes on to show you everything. It's got just very accurate illustrations. So this is probably a very easy model to build. If I was to build this, I would follow these instructions. Everything is still pretty well wrapped, but you get a good look at the body. It's two-piece body because we have the rear bonnet that lifts off to show the engine, and it is a very well typical Tamiya fashion, beautifully injected molded body, and really don't see a lot of parting lines or anything. I mean, it would take nothing to get this body prepped, but everything looks really good with that body. The next sprue tree that we have is basically, there's really only a couple of them. They're quite large because of the size of the box, so they could get everything into just a few trees. And this one basically has all your suspension and interior pieces. You have your interior tub and floor and the roll bars and everything like that. And very nicely done seats. And the wheels are right here. Everything's all right here. A spare tire. But you take a look at those the roll cage there. The detail is just outstanding. Very precise. Look at these control arms and part of the suspension here. All the joints and everything looks like it would move. So this could be a very fun build. And roll cage, the parting lines are not really difficult to get rid of. They're very small, or very low, so it would be real easy to scrape those off and get them looking really good. But that's real typical of Tamiya. The cleanup is always just so minimal. And this is really just the second of just really two major parts trees in this kit. And this one's all done in the gray. But this gives you a lot of your engine pieces and your suspension. And again, look at the coilovers. I always love Tamiya coilovers. They really do such a good job. With the right painting, you can just make those look like they're real and real springs, and they'll function. And you've got a pretty intricate dashboard right there. nice steering wheel, and your disc brakes and everything. And remember, this is probably this is 80s tooling, so you know they were really over the top back then. Tamiya was always knocking it right out of the ballpark with their tooling and injection. And there's the head to the engine right there. Just some outstanding detail there. So actually there is the third tree, which is the clear, and you know, all the glass and everything is just outstanding, and there's really good detail, even the rivets and everything of how the plexiglass was put together with the air vents and everything. And you have your tail lights and headlights, but you also have on the clear tree a skid plate. To me, it did this for you to have the option of when your car's together and you want to see all your detail of the suspension, you can leave it clear so you can still see that, because once this is on, all that work you do and all that excellent detail we just showed you of a lot of the suspension is all covered up by that, which is kind of a bummer, but you know, that's how the cars were to, you know, protect them in the rally. There's the other skid, that's like the front skid plate, I believe. And there's a decal in there, if you can see, it's the Michelin tire decals. They put them in there for some reason. And speaking of decals, they are a bit old now, but the colors are still pretty well there. There's a little bit of yellowing going on, so if I was to build this car now, I'd have a bit of a yellow thing, but I've read on the internet, and I haven't given it a try yet. There's been some really neat suggestions of how to bleach out these decals. Maybe one day we'll do a video and try it out, but I have heard guys say they wrap these up real airtight, put them in a window for a couple of days that gets direct sunlight, and it'll bleach this white right out. I don't know if that'll work, but I've been reading a lot about it on the internet, and maybe we'll give that a try. If any of you guys have done that before, please put it in the comments below. I'd really like to hear from you about your luck with that. That's been kind of a bummer about these older Tamiya kits. And look, there's a 1990 copyright, so that tells you when these came out. I also found it in the Volvo wagon that I was building. The decals are very yellowed and kind of turns your blue into teal. If I do build this car one day, I may not be able to do it as this exact car, because I don't know if these will look very good on there, but that's okay. You can always do a fantasy car, and I love doing those, because I, you know, live in a fantasy world. There's even a separate instruction sheet that just shows you decal placement, which is just great. That can be helpful if you go to do this car. If I can get those decals to get the yellow out, I would love to do this car. And last, in their own little package, Tamiya's outstanding tires. I just am never let down by tires in a Tamiya kit. Let's get a good look at them. You can see they've got really nice tread pattern. They're a really nice rally tire. The rubber that they use is just like, it's just the perfect color. There's just no need to really dress it up at all. And inside there's your bushings and things for your wheels and axles and everything. Tires can make a model car look great or horrible. So that's about it for this Luka's kits and this kit in general. That's the Peugeot 405 rally car. At this time, you know, about your only chance of getting one is finding them at the swap meets or on eBay. But if you enjoy doing rally cars, you've been looking for a really neat kit that's very detailed, but yet looks like it would not be a long assembly process. It probably would go together really quick, and you'd have a really fun time building it. And where it would come really fun is getting into like weathering it. That's why I got this kit, is I wanted to make it all muddy and stuff. And I'm kind of glad I didn't build it back then, because my weathering skills weren't good at all. You know, I can do weathering a lot better today, so I could really make a very cool looking car out of this now. So it was kind of cool holding on to it. Hope to get on it one day, because it will build up into such a neat looking car. So I hope you enjoyed this episode of Luka's Kits. I've got links down in the description below of my Teespring, where my shirts and my mugs and now a hoodie and all kinds of stuff like that can be had with Scully on the items, because You guys got to know, Scully is like the next big thing. You want to have them on your shirts and your mugs and stickers on your cars and everything. I'm doing it. All the kids in town are doing it. You should do it too. And we also have links down in the description below for Model Car Hobby Headquarters Facebook group. Join up there. We're getting people every day joining up, and you can post pictures of your model cars. There's been some really neat stuff getting posted on there. And there's also a link in the description below for Mediocre Modelers group. That's another great Facebook group with all kinds of modelers on there that do everything, not just cars. And also there's links to my daughter's two YouTube channels. Check those out. I've been working with her on a few things on her Cashew Cosplay channel, and we've got some funny videos there of what she does. Please check out my music guy's channel, AZLeo Valor. The guy is real talented and produces some excellent music. And I want to thank you guys again for watching. I want to thank you guys for keeping this channel going. And as I say, this is me, Luka Cee. Keep gluing those fingers together. Keep cutting that styrene. And we'll see you in the next video.